So in today's podcast, I just want to make a statement. You are not weak. You're just wounded. And when other guys don't seem to understand this scenario, I just want to let you know that you are not alone, and there are many men who are going through what you're going through. Welcome to the Secure Husband Podcast. Bruce Abbott, certified professional coach and founder of SecureHusband.com, where we help men learn how to stop reacting from pain and start leading from truth, strength, and emotional wisdom. Because the secure husband rises through strength, not through shame. And where this episode has come from is some of the comments that I see on some of these videos, hurtful. Things like, yeah, you're just too needy, you're too emotional, you're a simp, a real man would be able to handle his wife. And if you've looked down in the comment section, I'm sure you've seen a few of these. And most of them are either men who have secure attachment styles, so this is something that they don't understand, or they are avoidant attachment style, which means they're not going to be searching up stuff online about how to fix their wife because their wife is searching stuff online about how to make connection with their husband. So those two types of men aren't going to understand where you're coming from because they probably had a very different childhood than you did. You had different circumstances in your past, and you weren't able to get your needs met at that young age, and you've taken that into adulthood. I mean, you're a man who wants connection. You're a man who cares deeply. You're a man who feels it when your wife pulls away, and you're trying to figure out why you take it so personally. And yeah, you hear these comments, or maybe even in your friend group, they talk like you're the problem, and then you feel ashamed. But I want to tell you something right out of the gate. You have nothing to feel ashamed of. You're not weak. You're wounded. Think of it like a physical wound. Would you be able to run 10K if you've got a wound in your foot? No. And wounded doesn't mean broken. It means there's just something in you that needs to be healed. And other guys may not understand that. And some of them just don't want to. And some of them are just trolls. They'll rather mock you than look inward because facing your pain takes real courage. So I just wanted to address that today. Why is it that these other men criticize you, and how that attachment style gets shaped by your childhood, and how to stop feeling ashamed of your need for connection. You're human. All humans need connection. Let's talk about what's really going on here when other men don't understand, or worse, mock your emotional struggles in your marriage. Most of the time, even though I mentioned they might be more secure, that's probably not a good use of the word secure because I don't think that they're more secure than you. They just have a different relational wiring. They have a different path. So, as I mentioned, if they're avoidantly attached, which means they distance to feel safe, their wives are the ones pursuing them for attention and closeness. And they were often raised in environments where emotion was a liability. Don't let them see you cry. That kind of stuff. So when they see you caring, reaching, wanting more intimacy, they just don't resonate with it. And they say stuff like, you're too needy. Just man up. Come on, grow some balls. Stop letting your wife control your emotions. Be a man. Walk away. Come on. But here's the truth. They don't understand because they've never had to face what you're facing. They don't understand the experience of being ignored or emotionally neglected as a kid and feeling like you had to earn love. And you carry that anxiety. They don't understand carrying that anxiety when people you love pull away. They're not better than you. They're just different. And often just as dysfunctional, it's just in the opposite direction. And society tends to sometimes normalize that, the distant husband and the clingy wife. For some reason, that dysfunctional pattern seems to almost be okay in society today, which I just think is wrong. But for you, when these guys talk, you feel ashamed, you shrink, you start to believe them, and you feel small. And as we do throughout the Secure Husband process, we always start with just noticing this and just noticing the shame response, just being aware of it. And ask yourself, what am I feeling in my body when I read that comment or hear that guy talk? Does my chest get tight? Does my stomach sink? Do my thoughts start racing? Then just ask yourself, what story am I telling myself right now? Because you might be telling yourself stories like, oh, maybe I really am too emotional. Other guys don't seem to struggle like this. What's wrong with me? I'll never be enough for her or for anyone. But here's the deal. That shame doesn't belong to you. It belongs to a younger version of you. If you've listened to this podcast, you know it's that inner boy. It's that inner boy who learned that his needs were too much or that love wasn't safe. And you just brought that with you into adulthood. You're not weak. You're just remembering pain and noticing it as the first step. And then you choose to lead yourself. And it's this leading stage that's the pivotal moment, because the temptation here is to either start defending yourself or start agreeing with the voices that shame you. But a secure husband doesn't lead based on outside noise. He leads based on inner guidance. So you make a choice. You choose, I'm not going to let strangers on the internet or emotionally avoidant men define my value or tell me how to be a man. And then you connect to something deeper. You go inward. And we always say, whether that's your connection to God, the universe, your higher self, you ground yourself in a voice of truth and love. And that's when you say to yourself that I'm going to lead my story and not let others shame me into silence. And that's strength. And that's where you get to connect with that inner boy. And that's where healing really begins. It's that part of you that gets activated when your wife pulls away, or when someone calls you weak, or when you feel rejected or unseen. That little boy, he might have grown up with emotionally unavailable parents or critical authority figures or a home where love was earned and not given. So now he's hyper-attuned to rejection and feels invisible when connection is lost and believes, if I don't chase, I lose. And guess what? That inner boy has been running your marriage more than you think. Your job now is to show up for him. And you say, hey, buddy, I know you feel like you've got to prove yourself, but you don't. I see you. I love you. I've got you now. And then you invite in that higher power, that God, spirit, universe, that divine guidance, that unconditional love. And you let that speak to that inner boy and let it say that, hey, you were never too much. You were never not enough. You're mine. You're worthy. You're held. Because that voice, that's the one that replaces shame. And that's where you start to understand the root of these false beliefs. And you ask yourself, where did these beliefs come from? Where did these ideas in my head that I'm not a real man if I'm emotional, or I'm weak because I want connection, or she pulls away because I'm not enough, or other men wouldn't deal with this, those don't come from truth. They come from wounds. They come from culture. They come from fear. They come from a broken society. And you ask yourself, what did I learn about love growing up? What did I learn about what it means to be a man? Who told me emotions were weak? When you start identifying the source, you can unhook from that, because those beliefs aren't serving you. They're shaping you, but it's in the image of your pain and not your truth. And this gives you the option to choose your truth. Now that you've seen the lies, you choose truth. And you ask, what does love say about me? What does God say about me? What would the wise, grounded version of me believe instead? That I am worthy, that I am strong, I am courageous, I am loved. Your truth speaks that wanting connection doesn't make me weak, it makes me human. That my emotions are not the enemy, they're a compass. Other men's projections, they're not my truth. I don't need to perform masculinity. I need to live with integrity. And when you live with integrity, masculinity will follow. This is the moment where shame starts to dissolve, because the trolls, they don't shut up. They just keep going. The shame starts to dissolve because you stopped listening to them. You've got something stronger now. You've got a deeper voice guiding your identity. And this allows you to stand secure in who you're becoming. You don't need every man to understand you. You don't need every comment section to approve. You don't need to defend your healing journey. You're doing something most men will never do. You're facing your wounds. You're choosing inner leadership. You're healing the source of your pain and showing up in your marriage with emotional courage. And that's strength. And where the outcome of your marriage will go, I don't know. But you know you're building strength. So when someone calls you weak, you smile, blow it off. Because you know the truth. You're doing the hard work that's nothing to be ashamed of. That's courageous. Let them laugh. Let them misunderstand. And as I mentioned, most of them are just trolls anyway on the internet. But some are scared. And some, maybe one day, will wish they had your level of security. Because you're rising. So my whole point of this podcast is just, I want to leave you with a message that you're not weak because you feel deeply. And that you're not broken because you want connection. And you're not shameful because you struggle with rejection. You're a man who learned early that love was fragile. And now you're unlearning that lie. Now you're building emotional stability and learning to lead yourself. You're reconnecting to your spiritual center. You're becoming the husband your family needs. And what's strong about that is you're not doing it through force or domination. You're not doing it through fixing. You're doing it through healing. And that's the secure husband. You're not too much. You're not inferior. You're not less of a man. You're not alone. You're a man, and you're doing what you need to do. I hope this podcast has been helpful. If so, please give me a review. Hit that subscribe button for more Secure Husband episodes, and share this with someone who you think might need to also hear it. Visit securehusband.com for more resources and to book one-on-one coaching with me. And I'll see you again on the next Secure Husband podcast. Thanks for listening.